Dear students, welcome to another video tutorial on programming concept using C. And today's topic is recursion in C program. Before starting, I want to introduce myself. Myself Niladri Shekhar Pal. I am working as an assistant professor at Computer Science and Engineering Department at Greater Kolkata College of Engineering and Management. The college is under JIS Group Educational Initiative and the college is situated at Baruipur. Now, what is recursion? Recursion is basically the process of repeating items in a self-similar way. Okay. In programming language, if a program allows us to call a function inside the same function, then it is called as a recursive call of the function. So, recursion is the process which comes into existence when a function calls a copy of itself to work on a smaller problem. Any function which calls itself is called recursive function. Okay, and such function calls are called recursive calls. Recursion involves several numbers of recursive calls. However, it is important to impose a termination condition of recursion. Recursion code is shorter than iterative code. However, it is difficult to understand. Recursion cannot be applied to all the problems, but it is more useful for the tasks that can be defined in terms of similar subtasks. Okay, basically the C programming language supports recursion, that is a function to call itself. But while using recursion, programmers needs to be very careful to define an exit condition from the function. Otherwise, it will go into an infinite loop. For example, recursion may be applied to sorting, searching, and traversal problems. Okay, and recursive functions are basically very useful to solve many mathematical problems, such as calculating the factorial of a number, generating Fibonacci series, etc. Okay. So generally iterative solutions are more efficient than recursion, okay, since function call is always overhead. Any problem that can be solved recursively can also be solved iteratively. Okay, so you can say that iterative and recursion is similarities. Okay, however, some problems are the best suited to be solved by recursion. For example, Tower of Hanoi, Fibonacci series, factorial finding, etc. Okay, these are best solved using recursion because in this case the same things are happen continuously. Now, what are the recursive function in C? A recursive function basically performs the task by dividing it into subtasks. Okay, so basically it divides a complete task into different subtasks. There is a termination condition defined in the function, okay, which is satisfied by some specific subtask. After this, the recursion stops and the final result is returned from the function. The case at which the function does not recur is called the base case, okay, and whereas the instances where the function keeps calling itself to perform a subtask is called the recursive case. All the recursive functions can be written using the format. Okay. So now what will the memory allocation of recursive methods done? Okay. Each recursive call basically creates a new copy of the method in the memory. Okay. Once some data is returned by the method, the copy is removed from the memory. Since all the variables and other stuff declared inside the function get stored in the stack, therefore a separate stack is maintained at each recursive call. Once the value is returned from the corresponding function, the stack basically gets destroyed. Recursion basically involves so much complexity in resolving and tracking the values at each recursive calls. Therefore, we need to maintain the stack and track the values of the variables defined in the stack. So, we can say that the process in which a function calls itself directly or indirectly is called the recursion, okay? And the corresponding function is called as recursive function. Using recursive algorithm, certain problems can be solved quite easily. Okay, like Tower of Hanoi, in order, pre-order, post-order, tree traversal, DFS. Okay, now come, what is the base condition in recursion? In the recursive program, the solution to the base case is provided and the solution of the bigger problem is expressed in terms of smaller problems. Okay. Now, how a particular problem is solved using recursion? The idea is to represent a problem in terms of one or more smaller problems and add one or more base conditions that stop the recursion. Okay. Now, why stack overflow occurs in case of recursion? If the base case is not reached or not defined, then the stack overflow problem may arise. Okay. Now, what is the difference between direct and indirect recursion? A function, okay, is called direct recursive if it calls the same function. A function is called indirect recursive if it calls another function and that function calls the previous function directly or indirectly. Okay. Now, what is the difference between tailed and non-tailed recursion? These parts questions are very important. Okay. A recursive function is called tail recursive when recursive call is the last thing executed by the function. Okay. And next question is how memory is allocated to different function calls in recursion. Basically, the answer is when any function is called from main, the memory is allocated to it on the stack. Okay, a recursive function calls itself. The memory for a called function is allocated on top of memory allocated to calling function, and different copy of local variables is created for each function call. Okay, when the base case is reached, the function returns its value to the function by whom it is called and memory is deallocated and the process continues. Okay, so these are the few important questions. Okay, so I am once again telling you the questions. Okay, that is, what is the base condition in recursion? So will say in the recursive programs, the solution to the base case is provided and the solution of the bigger problem is expressed in terms of smaller problems. Okay. So next question is how a particular problem is solved using recursion. So the answer is the idea is to represent a problem in terms of one or more smaller problems and add one or more base conditions that stop the recursion. Okay, so so the idea is to represent a problem in terms of one or more smaller problems. Okay, and add one or more base conditions that stop the recursion. The next question is why stack overflow occurs in recursion. If the base case is not reached or not defined, then the stack overflow problems may arise. Okay. Now the next question is what is the difference between direct and indirect recursion? And the answer is a function, suppose is the function is name is function1 and it is called direct recursive if it calls the same function, that is function1. So if function1 calls function 1, then it is called recursive, indirect recursive. A function named function 1 is called indirect recursive if it calls another function, say function 2, and function 2 calls again function 1 directly or indirectly. Okay, so this is the concept of direct and indirect function, recursive function. Now come, what is difference between tailed and non-tailed recursion? Basically, a recursive function is tail recursive when recursive call is the last thing executed by the function. Okay, so if the recursive call is the last statement of that function, then it is called tail recursive. Okay. Now the next question is how memory is allocated to different function calls in recursion. When any function is called from main function, the memory is allocated to it on the stack. A recursive function calls itself. The memory for a called function is allocated on top of memory. Okay, allocated to calling function, and different copy of local variables is created for each function call. Okay, when the base case is reached, the function returns its value to the function by whom it is called. Okay, and memory is deallocated and the process continues. Okay, so these are the few important parts. Okay, so now next we'll do a C program of a factorial of a number using recursion. Okay, so let's do a C program. Recursion, basically factorial means the factorial of 5 is 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Okay, so this thing we will do using recursion. Okay, so this is our C editor. We'll go to file, next source file. Okay, so first we'll take the header file, that is hash include stdio.h. Okay, this is the standard input output header file. Header files are basically used because all the library functions are defined within these header files. Okay, so to use those header files, we must need to include these header files. Okay, now we'll take another header file that is called hash include conio.h. Okay, this is console input output header files. Now we'll take a function. Okay, so the function is unsigned long int factorial. Okay, so unsigned long int, this is the return type. Okay, and factorial is the function name. Okay, and we will pass a parameter variable. Okay, unsigned int I within it. Okay, we have used unsigned because we do not want it to be negative. Okay, so if I is less than equals to 1, okay, it will return 1. Okay, basically because the function of 1 is 1. Okay, else, okay, otherwise if we will not satisfy, if the value of I is greater than 1, then we will return I into, we will call the factorial function. As you can see that we have called the factorial function within the factorial function. Okay, so this is basically the recursion, and there is also a exit condition. Okay, so this is the factorial function, definition of factorial function. Now we'll write the main function. Okay, as we know, any C program will start executing from the main function. Okay, so any C program must contain a main function. Okay, so in the main function we'll take a variable I, okay, as suppose I. Okay, So now we'll take the value of I. Okay, so printf slash n, enter, sorry, enter the value of I. Okay, so next is the scanf statement within double quotation percentage d comma ampersand I. Okay, so we have taken the value of I. Okay, now we'll call the factorial function. Okay, or we can directly print it. Okay, so printf the factorial of percentage is percentage d. Okay, so at first we will pass the value of I, and after that factorial I. Okay, so this value will be passed. Okay, so first save the program, then we will define. Okay, so this is factorial dot c. Okay, so now I will compile and run. So suppose the value of I is 5. Okay, so as you can see, the factorial of 5 is 120. Okay, so the logic is in this is the main part. Okay, function factorial. Okay, so if the value of I, that is the value of which we want to find the factorial. Okay, so if the value of factorial is less than equals to 1, okay, then the factorial of that value will be 1. Okay, else that will be, suppose the value of I is 5, so 5 into factorial 4. Okay, so again it will come here. Okay, so factorial 4 is 4 into factorial 3. Okay, so previous I factorial was 5, so 5 into 4. Okay, again factorial 3 means 3 into. Okay, so this is how it will work. Okay, next this is the main function. Okay, so as you can see that the value of I has been taken. Okay, and after that the factorial function has been called. Okay, so this was the program to find the factorial of a number using recursion. Okay, so hope you have understood. This was the program of recursion. Okay, so next we will do another C program. Okay, that will find the Fibonacci series of a function. So now what is Fibonacci series? Fibonacci series is basically to find out the series. Okay, basically it is a series. Suppose the series is like 0, then 1, then the next digit will be summation of previous two, that is 0 plus summation of 0 and 1, so that will be 1. Okay, and the fourth digit will be summation of second and third, and we have second and third digit is 1 and 1. Okay, so the fourth digit will be 2. Okay, so this is how the Fibonacci series work. Okay, so let's do the C program of Fibonacci series using recursion. Okay, so this is our C editor. Okay, so hash include stdr.h. Okay, this is the header file. As I have told, header files are basically used to store the library functions. Okay, like printf, scanf. Okay, so use those library functions. We must need to include these header files in the C programming languages. Okay, and hash include, these are the preprocessor directory. Next we will take another header files, that is conaya.h. Okay, so the first one was stdio.h, the second one is the conaya.h. stdio.h means standard input output. Okay, and conaya.h means console input output. Okay, so now we'll take a function. Okay, that is int Fibonacci. Okay, we'll pass a parameter, okay, int I. Next, within the Fibonacci series, we will write if I equals to 0. Okay, if the value of I is 0, okay, then we will return 0. Okay, or if the value of I equal 1, okay, then we will return 1. Okay, otherwise, if the value of I is not 0 or not 1, okay, then we will, what we will do, we will call the Fibonacci function. Okay, so Fibonacci I minus 1. Okay, so plus Fibonacci I minus 2. Okay, so Fibonacci I minus 1 and I minus 2. Okay, so this is the end of the Fibonacci function. Next we will call the main function. Okay, as we know, every C program must contain a main function. Okay, basically any C program will start executing from this main function. Okay, so int I is a variable. Next we will take a for loop. So for I equals to 0, I less than 10, and I plus plus. Okay, next we will printf slash n, okay, percentage d. Okay, so which Fibonacci I will be printed. Okay, so Fibonacci I. Okay, so it will print the first 10 Fibonacci series. Okay, because I has been started from 0 and ended at 10. Okay, so it will print up to n. Okay, so let's save the program first. Let's execute it. Okay, so you can see there is 10 numbers. Okay, as I told that the first 10 Fibonacci series will be printed. You can see 0, 1. Next is 1, that is summation of 0 and 1. Next one is 2, that means 1 plus 1. Next is 3, means 2 plus 1. 5 means 3 plus 2. 8 means 5 plus 3. 13 means 8 plus 5. 21 means 13 plus 18. And 34 means 21 plus 13. Okay, so this is how Fibonacci series works. Fibonacci series means the summation of previous two numbers. Okay, so let's explain it. These are the two header files. Okay, this is the Fibonacci function. So here you can see that if the value of I is 0, okay, then it will return 0. If the value of I is 1, then we will return 1. If it is not 0 or 1, then we will call Fibonacci I minus 1 and Fibonacci I minus 2. Okay, as you can see that within the Fibonacci function we have called the Fibonacci function. Okay, so if we call a function, same function within a function, then it is called the recursion. Okay, next we have called the main function. This is int main. Okay, so the value of I has been taken. So the value of I started from 0 and ended at 10. Okay, that means to print we have to print the first 10 Fibonacci number. Okay, so we have to print the first 10 Fibonacci number. So we will print the first 10 Fibonacci number. Okay, so this is the, okay, so this is the Fibonacci number. Okay, Now we'll find out another C program, that is the sum of natural number using recursion. That means if the number is 5, we have to find out 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 0. Okay. So this was the program to find out the natural number using recursion. Let's do the program. Okay. So this is our C editor. This is hash include stdio.h. Okay. So this is the header file. Okay. As we know, we use header file because all the C library functions are written within this header file. Okay. Next, another header file, that is conaya.h. This is console input output, and the previous one was stdio.h, means standard input output. Okay. Next, we will take int main. This is the main function. Okay. Any C program must contain this main function because C program will start executing from this main function. Okay. Now we'll take a variable int num. Okay. So printf enter a number. Okay. The number must be positive. Okay. Okay. Next is the scanf percentage d comma ampersand now. Okay. So the value of now has been taken. Okay. So the answer will be printf slash n within double quotation. Okay. Sum equals to percentage d. Okay. And the function name is natural, suppose. Okay. And the value that will pass, that is num. Okay. Because we will find out the sum of first num natural number. Okay. So now we'll define the function natural. Okay. So int natural. Okay. So we have passed a variable int n. Okay. So now if n is not equals to 0, okay, then we will return n plus natural n minus 1. Okay. And in the else part we will return n. Okay. Otherwise we will return n. Okay. So let's first save the program. Okay. Then we will taking a bracket here. Okay. So first save the program and then execute it. Okay. So if the number is 5, it will be 15. That is 5 plus 4, 9, 9 plus 3, 12, 12 plus 2, 14 plus 1, 15. Okay. So what is the program? This is the main function. We have taken a variable int num. Then we have taken the num variable through keyboard, through user input. And here is the result is we have printed sum equal to percent d, and we have called the natural num function. Okay. And here we have defined the function natural. Okay. As you can see, the one parameter has been passed. So if n is equals to 0, okay, then we will return n plus natural n minus 1. Okay. So when n is not equals to 0, then we will do the same thing. Suppose n is 5. So if 5 is not equals to 0, so it will be 5 plus natural 4. That means again it will come here. Okay. So 4 is not equals to 0, so then it will be 5, 4 plus something. Okay. So it will be 5 plus 4. Okay. So this is how 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. Okay. And when the value of n is 0, then we will return n, that is the value of n. Okay. So this was the program to find out the sum of natural numbers using recursion. Hope you have understood. So student, this was the program of sum of n natural number using recursion. Okay. So we have did 3 programs here using recursion. So as you can see that recursion is nothing but to call a function within a function. But you always remember one thing, that there must be a condition of exit, otherwise it will be in infinite loop. Okay. So if you have any doubt, any query, you can write on the comment section, okay? Or you can, if you like my videos, you can subscribe to my channel, or you can visit www.digitalclassroom.Niladripal and like my page, okay? So students, thank you for now. See you in the next video tutorial.